The final stop of the 2016 ISU Grand Prix of Figure Skating is in the land of the rising sun. The grand final is just a few weeks away, but that doesn't mean there's not a showdown brewing here in ice dance. The two-time world champions from France, Gabriela Papadakis and Guillaume Cizeron, have a win earlier this season in France and are a favorite for another today. But the Canadian pair of Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir are back skating this season for the first time in 2 years. They have the lead heading into the short dance and are coming off a win in Canada. The ice dance is next. NBC Sports presents the ISU Grand Prix of Figure Skating. We welcome you to the Makomanai Saiki Suheim Arena in Sapporo, Japan for the sixth stop on the Grand Prix circuit. Today, it's the free dance final. Hello, everybody. I'm Tracy Wilson, along with Olympic champion Charlie White. And after the short dance, here is a look at the standings, and Charlie, a bit of a surprise with the Canadians Virtue and Moir ahead of the current world champions.
Absolutely. They really capitalize on their technical levels in the short dance to give themselves a solid lead heading into the free dance, and that French free dance is great, so they're going to need that.
We move now to the free dance, and the first team that we will see today, the 2015 French silver medalists. They were at Junior Worlds last year and finished 8th, new to the senior circuit. Here is Marie-Jaude Lauriault and Roman Legac. Skating to a medley of music by Elton John.
Opening their program with a wonderful set of twizzles, and as we watch these free dances today, we're incredibly lucky to have some very talented teams here. And in watching their free dances, I just want everyone to really look at them as a piece of art, to appreciate the details, the relationship between the partners. Sometimes it can be easy to get caught up in the details, but the overall impression of the programs are really going to be what we're looking at today.
Free dance has required elements: 3 lifts, a dance spin, 2 step sequences that must be executed in hold close together, a set of synchronized twizzles, and then 2 different choreographic elements, adding up to 9 elements in all, which are given a degree of technical difficulty, which is added to a mark for the quality or lack thereof, and that makes up the first score, and that's the technical score that you see in the upper left-hand corner. The second score for components is really about the artistry, choreography, interpretation, and the skating skills between the elements. Jade and Roman joined together in 2014, became partners on the ice then, and then partners off the ice when they married last year. Really well-matched team. Charlie, I think they've found the perfect partner in each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, they have a very similar approach to this program. And, you know, just obviously room to improve, but this is a good step forward for them. A couple of mistakes, losing levels technically. And, you know, for me, the main thing is just missed opportunities in the details, you know, in looking at each other. You know, it's one thing to love someone. It's another to be able to show it to a crowd of people in the middle of an ice rink. And, you know, for me, that's really the next step, is just improving that sort of personal attention to each other. And here we have their twizzle sequence they opened the program with was very well done. Good distance across the ice. Same rate of revolution in their twizzles. Stayed nice and close. He's obviously very strong. Great lifts. Amazing strength from both of them. And that's really a highlight that can help push a program, you know, from good to great. And, you know, definitely something that they're starting off their senior careers with.
Very young team. She's just turned 20. He's 21. So this is all about building experience at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, they're going to be in the shadow of another French team for a while.
Which is a perfect place to develop.
Absolutely. You know, maybe not quite the pressure, but good steps in the right direction. So good for these guys. 7th
after the short dance. First place right now with a number of top teams to skate. 91.78. Their free dance score, a total of just under 150 points. We will be back to France with a lot more from the free dance competition. This event has been licensed by the International Skating Union, Lausanne, Switzerland, for this exclusive broadcast. All worldwide rights to this event are expressly reserved to the International Skating Union. Unauthorized reproduction and use of this event is strictly prohibited. And we welcome you back now to Sapporo, Japan, for the final flight in the free dance competition. And we are looking at Russian silver medalists Victoria Sinitsina and Nikita Katsalapov.
Yeah, just a wonderfully talented Russian team, but they're on the outside looking in right now in terms of Russian standings. They have quite a bit of ground to make up after this Grand Prix series.
A young team from the United States, Caitlin Hawayek and Jean-Luc Baker.
And speaking of making up ground, these guys have taken giant strides from last year. This free dance is turning into one of my favorites of the season. Their elements have come together much more smoothly, so I'm looking to really enjoy their skate today.
Here are the current world champions, two-time world champions from France, Gabriela Papadakis, Guillaume Cizeron, looking to make up some ground.
And I can just never say enough good things about these guys. I mean, their talent is always evident. Their approach to their programs is fresh and new, and they're just wonderful skaters.
Right now, they're sitting about 4 points behind this Canadian team of Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir, who are back this season for the first time since the Sochi Games.
And this is a big step for these guys, the second Grand Prix of the season, and a wonderful chance for them to continue to prove that they are back, that it is not, in fact, a mirage.
Here's one of my favorite teams this year, Charlie. Anna Cappellini, Luca Lanotte. They were fourth at Skate Canada, but this free dance had the crowd on its feet, was a favorite there.
Absolutely. I mean, crowd favorite is the perfect way to describe these guys. Just the characterization they bring to the free dance, I think it warms your heart. It brings a smile to your face.
Well, they will be the ones to close the show, and as the dancers finish their warm-up, we'll take a break. Back in Sapporo, Japan, for the NHK Trophy final flight of the free dance. Fourth at Europeans from Russia, Victoria Sinitsina, Nikita Katsalapov. Had a great season last year, won 2 Grand Prix medals, made the top 10 at Worlds. They trained last year in Detroit with Charlie, your old coach, Marina Zueva. Their best success as a team. This year, they're back and forth between Russia, Detroit. We're fourth at the Cup of China, and we'll interpret the Tango Ballet from Astor Piazzolla. Fourth after the short program.
Here in their circular step sequence, you can see they're adding as many Argentine tango flavor steps as possible to really make it sort of flow with the rest of the program. And that can be quite difficult to do in these step sequences. There's so many edges and turns you have to focus on. So, I think that's a good step in the right direction for them to push themselves in that area. A little bit of a loss of balance from him on the first twizzle, from her on the second.
And that's something that we didn't see as much for them last year. They seem to be more tidy, thus the success. And Charlie, I feel like there's so much to like about this team. I see a ton of potential. No reason why they can't be at the top of the game, but watching this interpretation while he faces her, he never really sees her.
Absolutely. And so much of the Argentine tango is about the relationship between the two dancers. And you get the sense that for them, it's more about sort of the show outwards. And so I think they're missing an opportunity to really capitalize on this music and the feeling that is created within Argentine steps.
Victoria Sinitsina, Nikita Katsalapov. A couple of untidy moments in that program. It is still partway through the season, but boy, they need to truly build, Charlie, before the World Championships. I always feel a little bit like they're doing less than what they could.
Yeah, and for me, in watching this program, it just doesn't look like it's been trained enough. You could see them sort of gasping for air, maybe halfway through, and that really affected their ability to relate to one another, to stay into the ice, to maintain the integrity of their edges in their last footwork sequence. And so they left a lot of points on the board, and I have a feeling it's just a question of training. And for a team that's changed coaches a bit and moved around, from the U.S. to Russia, it's tough to keep the integrity of your training going. And for me, I definitely felt that in this performance today. And there's some challengers, some kids coming up in the Russian ice dancing world that are challenging them right now. So they've gone from challenging for the Russian top spot to just trying to make that podium.
Fourth after the short program, about 3 points out of podium position, so hitting just over 100. And that brings him into first place at this point. Top scores this season are 115 points.
And for that level of talent, that score should be disappointing.
6番ケイトリン・ハワイエク、ジャンルック・ベーカー組、アメリカ。
Moving to center ice now, 2014 World Junior Champions. They're in fifth after the short program. Here are Caitlin Hawayek and Jean-Luc Baker, and they will skate to Franz Liszt's Liebstrom.
Wonderful set of twizzles and a wonderful start to this program from these guys.
You mentioned in the warm-up how much they've improved this season over last year. And they had a rough year with injuries and illnesses. I also think this vehicle is the perfect vehicle for them.
Definitely agree. And, just the softness, especially Jean-Luc is such a natural skater. He's able to breathe life into this incredibly romantic piece of music. And, it's really a joy to behold as they continue to improve.
Well, a beautiful performance by Caitlin Hawayek and Jean-Luc Baker. And look at those technical scores in the top left-hand corner. They are ahead of a top 10 team in the world at this point technically. But Charlie, if we look at this free dance and going forward, it's all about how do you grow that program as the year progresses. What do you think they need to do? What's the next step?
I think for me, it's just showing the maturity, and that comes from making us feel like they never want to take their eyes off of one another. And, you know, here, as you can see, they're doing their step sequences. It's tough not to sort of show the focus that's required for these elements. And there are so many wonderful moments, but I want it to last through the entire program, from the beginning to the end, that nothing can interrupt the fact that they're together on the ice. And, you know, again, that's just growing into the program. That's just maturity. But even here on these lifts, you know, in that last rotational lift, he can look at her. He can look at her in the eyes and just keep it tender. But as that program went along, I thought they felt more and more comfortable and sort of fell into that. So I love this program, and I think they just have some room to grow.
Well, I think that giggle said it all by Caitlin. 104.34, a big season's best. And look at that result. First place, so they have taken the lead over a 10th ranked team in the world. Well done. We'll be back with more after this. Ready now for the much anticipated showdown. The French world champions, Gabriela Papadakis, Guillaume Cizeron, they're in second behind Virtue and Moir of Canada. Here they are now with their free dance. Missed a few levels technically in the short dance. They're 4 points out of first. So they need to do what they do best, and that is be perfect.
Guillaume missed his foot on that second twizzle, which unfortunately will keep this program from being perfect and really affect the level of that twizzles, bringing down their overall score. A little bit of a struggle exiting that lift as well. You can see they're skating a little bit tight today. It's not quite their normal performance.
2014, they were 13th in the world, had a meteoric rise up the standing, won the title in 2015, repeated again last year in Boston, winning the gold and setting a world record with their free dance. World champions Gabby and Guillaume. A couple of tense moments, though, in this free dance, but what beautiful, fluid performers, Charlie.
Absolutely. These guys, you know, it was a sloppy skate for them, but a sloppy skate for them is still far and away a wonderful routine. And this is just a great learning opportunity for them. You know, you have to think big picture sometimes. And while today may not have been their best skating day, what they can take away from this experience, from being here, competing against Scott and Tessa for the very first time, and the pressure that comes along with that, it's just something they have to learn from. And, you know, I expect that they'll be able to do that. And here we have their twizzle sequence. Starts off strong, but then as Guillaume steps into the second twizzle here, you can see he misses his blade, and that is required for them to get the highest technical level. So almost right off the bat, something that for the rest of the program they were no doubt considering the ramifications of that. And, you know, just a lot of tightness into and out of movements, out of lifts that normally we don't see. I mean, like you said, Tracy, their flow is one of their greatest attributes, and that was just missing a little bit today.
Well, and the mistake probably costs about 2.5 points. So when it's a game of inches and you know you're trying to catch a team ahead of you, it becomes a matter of thinking through the program instead of doing what they do best, which is just get lost in the feelings.
Exactly.
Which is what allows us, the audience and the judges, to do as well.
Yeah, and you can see just from the looks on their faces that they're not happy with that skate. That score is not reflective of their ability, but as we said, something to learn from.
Well, 115 was what they had in France, 111.06. And Tessa and Scott and the Italian world champions when we come back.
Number 8, representing Canada.
We welcome you back to Japan, the free dance final, an embarrassment of riches here with a number of world champions in the field. This, two-time world champions, Olympic champions 2010. Their return after a 2-year absence. Tessa Virtue, Scott Moir of Canada. Tessa Virtue, Scott Moir, technical scores in the top corner tell the story right now from that aspect. Charlie White, your thoughts artistically on this performance by Tessa and Scott?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, welcome back to them, and what a joy it is to have them in the dance scene, and their talent brings so much to the sport. It's really fun to see them competing again. From a technical standpoint, like you said, incredibly strong. Watching them, I think, makes just your average Joe feel like they could go out there and do level 4 footwork. From an artistic standpoint, I mean, they relate to each other beautifully. Big picture for me, the only question is how the first and second half of their programs relate to each other. They do such a wonderful job of making everything look easy, but I don't feel the connection between that first cello piece and the Sam Smith. And, wonderfully skated the whole thing through. But, I don't want to feel like I'm left sort of wondering what the story is, what the character progression is, how they are supposed to be relating to one another. But, for a team of this quality, honestly, I would say that constitutes as nitpicking, which may sound silly,
but that's what this is a game about, Charlie.
Absolutely.
And as you know, going forward, it's just trying to find every ounce to develop and improve. Well, at this point, great news here for Tessa and Scott. Season's best. Those are the highest scores we've seen this year on the Grand Prix circuit in the free dance. 116.37. So they are welcomed back in a big way here in Japan. And there's a look at the standings. Virtue and Moir of Canada on top. We'll be back with more in a moment. We are back in Japan, the final skaters in the free dance competition. We've seen the current world champions. We saw the 2010 Olympic champions. Now, the 2014 world champions, Anna Cappellini, Luca Lanotte. And in this program, they will interpret Charlie Chaplin. And let me tell you, this has been a crowd favorite. They have worked on the nuances of the character of this program with Luigi Bonino, who was in the stage show of Dancing Chaplin. He worked with both of these two on the floor and on the ice.
Beautiful position from her in that lift. A wonderfully creative exit, and like you said, they have clearly devoted themselves to the characters, and just the difficulty of maintaining that through all of the incredibly difficult elements speaks to their ability and their experience as a team. And as this program picks up and they step into their diagonal step sequence, I mean, you can just feel the crowd buying into this program 100%. And that ability to captivate, it's so rare, and it's such a joy to see. As I'm watching, I can't stop smiling.
Anna Cappellini, Luca Lanotte, and Chaplin.
Oh, gosh. And, the crowd is on their feet. I've just been trying to maintain my composure.
Well, it's interesting. This is the same reaction in Canada, and they were up against two top Canadian teams there, and the crowd was cheering them like they were their own.
Yeah.
I think their personalities really touched the people.
Absolutely. It's like a wonderfully nostalgic program, and what they tap into is very human, and to the point where you forget about the skating.
But let's tap into the other aspects. And I have to say, sometimes I felt like they took the pedal off the metal a little bit in terms of power.
Yeah, I think that's something that can often be the case with them is, not maybe hitting the deepest edges, not pushing themselves to hit maximum speeds, which is something that the judges have to take into account. As much as we love the character aspects, the ice coverage, the depth of edge, these are things that are also important. And, in comparison to the two teams that we've just seen, they don't quite match up in those areas.
Right. You could see the pattern in places doesn't quite fill the arena. However, personality makes up for it, and that's what matters to this audience, and how nice for them. Nothing means more, I think, to skaters than getting that standing ovation.
Agreed.
And here they are, third in the short dance, and again, third in the free dance. We will not see them at the final this year, but they will finish up the Grand Prix season with a bronze medal. So, Charlie, a look at the final standings, and that is a significant difference here for Virtue and Moir.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're certainly making their presence known, technically hitting everything that they need to, growing into these programs. It certainly doesn't feel like they've missed a beat.
And it sets up a wonderful showdown to come at the Grand Prix final. Virtue and Moir, then the Shibutanis, and look at that, Charlie. 3 U.S. teams. They're dominating.
3 U.S. teams. I love it.
Of course you do. Cappellini and Lanotte, Gabby and Guillaume. The champions here in Japan, Virtue and Moir. For Charlie White, I'm Tracy Wilson. Thanks for watching.